Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Becoming Us podcast. We are so excited to be here with you. We have the usual, like we've done this that long. Hey, just want to let you guys know, podcasting is a brand new thing to us.
We might
not be the best at it starting out.
Make mistakes.
I tried listening to last week's thing, and I was kind of upset with how rambling I was and stuff like that. Got to get to the point.
We were too. We were going to talk to you about that later, but
Nah, it's good. But hey, before we get started, I just want to let everybody know and remind everybody, you can watch this on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and if you need links to any of those, go to our website, fccevv.com, and all the links are there. So, yeah. Just in general, how you guys doing?
Doing pretty good today.
Yeah.
Had an amazing lunch.
We did.
Yeah.
New place in Evansville
lunch,
to us.
Yeah, rockin' chicken.
Rockin'
Was
chicken.
good.
Yeah, it's my birthday
Month.
month.
Week.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
Celebrating
skipped
Zach.
last week, but yeah, my birthday was last Thursday, so the staff treated me.
Picked a good joint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had low expectations. I did.
I had low expectations.
always-
and it was great.
Yeah.
Any place.
Typically,
that I
it's like,
pick.
hey, we're going to go to this food truck at this gas station
On
on
the
the
south
corner on the
side.
south
Like
side.
Yeah.
We were
Trust
like,
me,
what?
you're gonna like it.
Yeah.
And it was good food.
But there's
But
not
it-
going to be eating any
Yeah.
seating, okay?
But
so
it was delicious.
It was.
It was
Yeah.
delicious.
You have
so.
good picks.
yeah,
Zach.
all those
Yeah.
places though that I wanted to go to were closed on Monday, so
Yeah.
I picked this place.
You made a good
Mhm.
choice.
Yeah,
Rockin'
one time
Chicken
we
First
had a
Avenue.
Monday pick and this place was closed. Like we were all there.
Yeah.
We're like,
Yeah.
what were
Yeah.
we doing?
Yeah, it happens. So this last Sunday, Jerry, he talked about Psalm 123, and I thought it would be good if, before we really get into it, just so it can be a standalone thing, how about somebody read this for us?
can read?
Yeah, you can
I
read.
could do that.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. Here we
Here
are.
we go. Go for it, Matt.
It says, I lift up my eyes to you who sit enthroned in heaven. As the eyes of slaves look at the hand of their master, as the eyes of a female slave look to the hand of her mistress, so our eyes look to the Lord our God, till he shows us his mercy. Have mercy on us, Lord, have mercy on us, for we have endured no end of contempt. We have endured no end of ridicule from the arrogant, of contempt from the proud.
Right on. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. Yeah, there's a couple things that I've found just to start things out. Of course, this is a psalm, and there's different writers to the psalms. We don't know who wrote this psalm.
Right.
On top of that, there's no references in the New Testament to this psalm. Sometimes there's throwbacks, in the New Testament, but there's none here for this one. Yeah, and that last part about being beat down by the rich, those who are at ease, the ESV says. The Message says the complacent rich men and the proud, the arrogant brutes is how the Message says that. But this psalmist is desperate for relief from a situation that he has no power or control or authority to change. So he lifts his eyes to the one enthroned in heaven. And that's kind of to start it off. That end is kind of the heart of where this person is. The psalms typically, they just have like this, here's a feeling I'm trying to represent, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, the answer is God is here with you, but they'll just exclaim, where are you? You're not here, right?
Right.
So that end part where it says, I'm desperate, I'm being beat down, there's not anything I can do. And then the beginning is how he starts out. So what's some things that you guys have gotten from that?
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to come back to that because I think what you said was profound in that I think we overlook that. When I'm reading the Psalms, I sometimes look at them and think, what? There's so much cultural baggage or something going on that somehow I'm missing. So when I read it, and here's something I dug in and found, I won't take credit for this. I got this online, but what I found was that this is, first of all, something they sang as they went to Jerusalem. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever heard anyone describe when they've been to Jerusalem, but anytime you get to Jerusalem, you have to go up. So immediately, that's something to note, that it's mountainous. It's not mountainous like we think of, like Colorado mountains, but it was the high point in the area. And so here's what I learned is these were sung by pilgrims traveling to Jerusalem. The upward journey physically mirrors the upward gaze spiritually. I thought, oh, now that makes more sense. I'm starting to see a picture that I couldn't see on my own without a little bit of help.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you're going to Jerusalem for some kind of celebration, some kind of feast or whatever, and you're thinking of all that, like this, you're coming from your struggle and you're walking towards hope. You're walking towards the celebration. You're walking towards an answer, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, in Scripture too, anytime they mention Jerusalem, they always say up. They went up to Jerusalem. So that's something to note, that Jesus says that, not just him, but other writers often use the word up when they're describing going to Jerusalem. So it's just a concept we don't think about. We're not thinking of the geography more than we're just thinking it's a place, Jerusalem.
Let's talk for a second just about like that ending part again. Have mercy on us, O Lord, have mercy on us, for we have endured no end of contempt. We have endured no end of ridicule from the arrogant, of contempt from the proud. Contempt. Help me out there. How do you guys feel contempt in life? How would you define it? Have you ever felt that?
I have felt contempt. Yeah, I can. It's kind of like when someone is talking to you and they roll their eyes. I have something better to say than you're giving me, or something like that. You know, like they don't like what we're saying, and it's kind of like a mental rolling of the eyes. Like what I have to say isn't important. I mean, it's like in this case we're seeing the word proud right after that. Mm-hmm. So it's the person may not realize it, but the person that's acting proud is speaking in such a way that makes you feel little.
Yeah.
And
hey, you're beneath consideration. You're not worth my time, or not deserving of
even
it.
if it were true, no one likes to feel that way, right?
Yeah.
Surely we could talk about my idea, not just look down upon it. And you know something, I was mentioning this to Michael beforehand. This is really important, especially at this verse, that I noticed they're not asking God, and especially when you put verse 3 along with this, but they're not asking God to take them out of the situation. They're asking for God's mercy, even to endure what's going on. Notice that? So God, I think they realize that maybe God's teaching them something through this experience. A lot of times we refer to this, and when a group is being persecuted, like in Iran's happening right now, even in China, the underground church, they're not asking believers to say, hey, stop this. Stop the incredible, horrible things that are happening. They're not always asking to be taken out of that. They're asking for God to help them endure to the end, to be faithful. And God often teaches people by their observation of how they're being treated very badly and very contemptuously, and yet they honor God and they seek His help versus them trying to get out of it.
Yeah.
Something pretty hard to do.
Yeah. Which gives us, if we go back then to the beginning, the answer to everything, the lifting the eyes to the Lord. What are your thoughts about that? I feel like you had something about that.
Yeah, it's like it's a pretty common theme. You know, I know there's a lot of Psalms, okay? Mm-hmm. But that whole phrase or that whole action of lifting your eyes or lifting your heads, it's found all throughout the Psalms, not just, you know, we talked about it last week in Psalm 121. It's in Psalm 25 and Psalm 24, in Psalm 34, and Psalm 141, and in these two Psalms that we talk about today. And the thing I thought about whenever I was thinking about this lifting eyes in confidence is basically what they're saying, in assurance and knowing that God is in control. Oftentimes when I am not confident, where are my eyes? Down.
Yeah. On the ground.
Mm-hmm.
On the ground, looking at what's
Just
going, looking at my current situation.
Yeah, please don't make eye contact with me.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
in shame.
Yeah. So I'm being, you know, just being that downcast spirit. But these Psalms remind us to, you know, have confidence, lift your eyes up. You know, one thing that people tell me all the time, you know, is to, you know, don't walk around with your head down all the time.
Yeah.
You know, because you either look mad or you look sad, one or the
Mm-hmm.
other. But something that you said at the beginning, and I don't remember exactly how you said it, but they were having to endure a situation or a circumstance that they had absolutely no control over.
Yeah.
And that doesn't set well with us at all, because we immediately want to fix and look around and see how to fix, but we should be lifting our eyes and looking beyond, because oftentimes our present circumstances, we think that defines our future, and it absolutely does not.
Yeah.
Okay, so something that came to mind, something that you said, like when Zach triggered something in your mind. Okay, so have you ever been in a group and we approach something and someone says, okay, what are you guys here for? And no one knows what they're supposed to say, and they all look to whom? They look to the leader that probably got the group together. They all immediately look like, oh, as if you're going to speak and give the wisdom. I kind of see this. And they say they turn their eyes, they give their focus on who can actually give an answer, who can really give a response that's going to lead them where they need to be.
Which kind of brings us to the first point, have the eternal perspective. That Jerry said, but just like your vision and what your focus is on when it comes to problems and stuff like that. So this is a problem that this psalmist has no control over. It's external, it's people, human, it's a human problem. So we look down, or a lot of times we don't, we just focus and we just only look at the problem instead of the person that can fix the problem, right? Which is an interesting thing, because like it's a psychological phenomenon, right? Whenever you look at a problem and you focus and you feed that issue, it can become bigger and larger and even like harder to actually handle, because you've built it up to be such a big deal, because you have put all of your soul's attention onto that, and it becomes so weighted.
Are you saying we make things a bigger deal than they really are?
All the time. All the time. I do. One of my favorite things about becoming a dad is just the fact that I have no energy for things that, I just can't make this a big deal. I wish I could make it a big deal.
Yeah.
But to me, it is not a big deal. So I can easily dismiss. Having that eternal perspective of actually, like, what's really important, is this really going to affect me in the future with judgment? Is God the one that's going to bring justice to the situation? Can I, or am I going to? Do I have any control? And if I don't have control, like, I got to look to the one that actually can save, the one that actually can save, because I can't look down. I can't look at myself. The answer here is not within me. It's only to the Lord. So, which I guess is a lot of part of just like, I don't know, why do we think that we're always if we search hard enough within ourselves, we're going to find the solution? Like, what about human nature? What about us thinks that if we try hard enough, we can fix it, when really we have no control? Why is that? I don't.
Sometimes we think we're fixing the situation, but we often are meddling and messing it up because we didn't rely on God. And think about, though, what it means when we say to entrust God. Like when God's sending his disciples out, he didn't send them out with any preparation. He even told them, don't take this, don't take that. You're not even going to know whose house you're going to stay at. And think of the trust that he's asking. And this is similar in this concept.
And I think a lot of us being, the I got to fix it people is, God's timeline's way slower than ours. And we want it fixed now. Rather than having to wait, when actually the waiting is when like the refining process happens within us, whenever we are actually learning to be dependent on him. One of the things that I noticed reading, just even now, reading through this and looking at it over here on the screen is, these people who are crying out to God, they didn't do anything wrong.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They were being ridiculed from people who thought they were better than them, or had power over them, or authority over them, when in reality they didn't. And a common reaction for us whenever that happens is that we're going to lash back out at that person. But this psalm doesn't say that at all. It's a like an attentive dependence and a quiet dependence on God. Whenever, we want to be loud and we want to be bold in our confidence, sometimes the strongest confidence that we have is to be quiet and to trust.
They didn't have
and to wait.
answers. How many times do we sit, I don't have an answer, and maybe that's what God's saying, wait, you don't need an answer. Just rest, expect that I'm here. And as a matter of fact, the word, I don't know, see what verse is it in, but the word enthroned, it's talking, if you think about it, God is not merely present in heaven, he is seated as king.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just telling us that, hey, right there in verse 1, actually, that word enthroned, it just reminds us that God's sovereign, he's working on it. It may not seem like it, like you said, the time, it seems like God's put a pause button or something,
Right.
I'm not going to respond. And sometimes we don't realize, what, that's the training. God's wanting to help me be not just patient, but maybe, I don't know, just learning the concept of trust requires patience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the answer. God's going to show it, even if I don't know what that is or when. That's the key you were mentioning.
Yeah, wanting to have it now. I don't think I've ever met anybody that I've really enjoyed spending time with that have always gotten everything they wanted right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And those are the kind of people that that this psalmist is getting the ridicule from. And it's almost like his response is one of the best response. Sing a song and look to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. like you're not going to scream and punch back.
Right.
That's not a move.
Worship.
Yeah.
Worship and you don't have answers.
Sing a song and look to the Lord.
It's hard for us, though, to wrap our mind around, though, that sometimes our best reaction to a situation is to keep our mouth shut.
Yeah. Yeah. How many times have we messed things up more because we felt like we had to talk about it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We had to call it out in front of everybody. If this has affected me this much, then the whole world's got to see this burn down.
Mm-hmm.
And we just cause more pain and struggle. It's not good.
But it's hard for us to look beyond where we're at because, I don't when situations like this happen to me, it's kind of like that whole Jerry talked about yesterday, that worst case scenario kind of situation where this is the end. This is the end of me. This is going to do me in. This is I can't see beyond. I can't see how there can be anything beyond this situation that I'm in. But Jerry's next point that he talked about yesterday was that we have to trust, which is hard for us. Like we even talked about that last week. It's hard for us in our present situation to trust that it's gonna get better and God's gonna meet our needs. But the psalm just basically says, hey, while you're waiting, trust in me and keep looking up and keep focused on me.
Yeah, there's no confidence in anything else other than the Lord. I was reading a book called The Imitation of Christ by Thomas Kempis. And there's an interesting thing when we're talking about confidence and just the false idea of your ability to have confidence within yourself. And I just got a little quote here from that. If I truly knew myself, I would look upon myself as insignificant and would not find joy in hearing others praise me. A barrage of words does not make the soul happy, but a good life gladdens the mind, and a pure conscience generates a bountiful confidence in God. If you really knew yourself and your true ability to do and bring about any amount of righteousness, you wouldn't hear praise from anybody else and think that that's a good thing, because you know you're not capable.
Right.
We always talk about righteousness being right living, and that was even something that Jerry said, that was interesting. If you don't feel like God is answering your prayers, work on your righteousness. I don't know if that's true, good, right?
Comes out of James.
Our ability to be righteous, there's no one righteous. There's not even one. But I think just having the mirror of the law, having scripture to show us where we are failing, just brings us to reliance on God even more, because it's supposed to show that we're never going to be able to do enough to be in right with God. It's going to be something that can only be given to us through Christ and his sacrifice. We get his righteousness. Thankfully, we're not doing it on our own righteousness. I don't know if that has anything, but I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Sometimes doing the right thing doesn't feel right. I know there's times where I want to immediately show this person or that person, who's ever wronging me or causing this frustration, immediately to show them how wrong they are. And then sometimes I'm reminded, which I don't want to be reminded, but that God is, if I stop and step back and realize God's going to work this out, even if I don't know how, that my patience is what he's wanting sometimes, not my,
right.
So here's something that I think is so true. It says, Psalm 123 teaches us that strength of God's people is not dominance, but dependence.
Right.
When surrounded by contempt, they do not lash out. They do not compromise. They look up and they keep looking. And so I just think that's a huge theme. When I'm thinking about, we've been struggling for several months now of saying, what is a pathway of discipleship for us here at First Christian? What would that look like? How do we make it not complicated, make it simple enough to be repeatable, but yet there's certain things we need people to know and do, and we're struggling because we don't want to get it wrong, and sometimes we don't have answers, and we're asking lots of questions, but we know that discipleship is something that God wants us to not only grow in ourselves, but to grow in other people. So how do I make a disciple worth replicating? And so part of it is saying, God, I got to let you work. Like, we're doing this thing called a Discovery Bible Study. And I know the church is going to be hearing about that sometime soon, but the problem is it doesn't match the same Bible studies we've been doing. They're a little simpler, and almost anybody can pretty much lead one of those. And our problem is when we start doing the study among all these people who have been giants in the faith, in the sense that they've been studying for a long time, done many Bible studies, we're finding out that, we want to give all of our commentary and all of our information, but sometimes God needs us to slow down and be simple so that he can show that he's at work, not us. It's so easy to want to say, I can do this, I'm going to show you, but God's sometimes saying, no, let me show them. And that's a hard concept to let go of me being the expert and letting God be the one that teaches through Scripture as they read through Scripture. Anyway, it didn't explain the whole process, but I just know that we struggle with wanting to do, what can I do? What can I put in this?
We overcomplicate it.
That's actually what we're doing.
What it means to know Jesus, really.
Yeah.
We really do. We overcomplicate it for so many different reasons. Yeah. We want to, whatever that reason may be, we want to look intellectual. We want to look busy about it whenever it's really not. And I think we even talked about this as we, rebranded or redid vision, mission, and values. It's like, you know what? It's really easy. Love God, love people, serve both. That's, that sounds super simple and like a super simple phrase, but sometimes it's hard to do it. But we overcomplicate it. We try to put too many words into it, and I think that's the trap we were falling into. Is we were trying to put too many words into what Jesus really plainly said. Why do we need to add more to it? So
we think that I've probably been as guilty as most in that we make it seem like the experts need to do something, instead of us realizing that no, it's not experts God's wanting. He's wanting the obedience. Like
I mean,
here,
Jesus didn't choose experts, did he?
no, he didn't.
Yeah.
And he often sent them out without having the
Yeah.
full explanation or giving them much teaching. He just sent them out. Like they did this in Luke chapter 10 and Matthew chapter 10. He sends the disciples out and they do these miraculous things. And then they come back and say, Lord, teach us to pray. What did you do when you did all these miracles? And they didn't have all the answers when they went out. And I think they started to realize is I didn't trust God. I just, as much as I thought I was.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, they made it complicated. And anyway, Jesus has a way of saying, look, you don't have to have everything. You just need to trust me. That's what the Psalm's about.
Yeah.
Trust me. I'm working on you.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting perfection. I'm just expecting you to trust me and to put your obedience in what I ask you to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Doesn't
like,
want the,
go ahead.
I'm
Sorry.
just gonna like he doesn't want the I think one of you said it, but he
If it
doesn't
was
want
good, it was me.
he doesn't want the expert. He wants the obedient. You
Yeah.
know?
That was my hat.
Yeah. And just the simple like, hey, like I mean, I know that's what launched me having a genuine relationship with Jesus is I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna open up, I'm gonna read one thing, I'm just gonna go out and I'm gonna do that the next day. And I started that pattern, and after a few months of it, it was like my whole life had changed. My brain had restructured itself entirely. It was like, I was like, oh snap, like you're alive.
Mm-hmm.
You are living and active, and I'm participating with your spirit through the word, and I'm talking with you. And it was just all these different things, but I was just like, I'm going to read and then I'm going to go do. And it was crazy how much that just started everything. And just a simple obedience, not complicating it, trusting that, hey, if all this is true, then you got my back whenever I'm going to go out there and do this. And that was the life transformative part for me. So when we read and see this psalm, just that sing a song and look to the Lord, we think about even just the mirror of Christ and how talk about scorn and ridicule, misrepresentation, lies, complete unjust an unjust court ruling. There's all of this, secret trial in the middle of the night, all of these things that, false witnesses. I mean, you throw out all of this, and then you watch how he took it, how he trusted, how he, suffered. And that's our model. Yeah. And then we looked at that, we see how he acted, and that's the way we need to be.
You said that, like, you asked at the beginning, and then you said, as I sit here and kind of think about all this, that, this was a song sung by pilgrims. So a people who are on a pilgrimage, and probably a spiritual pilgrimage if they're heading to Jerusalem. So a people in their spiritual journey who are feeling pressure from outside forces and circumstances that are trying to derail them from arriving at their destination, and they are looking to God and keeping their eyes fixed on Him to see them through. Sounds like the whole Christian walk to me, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like that's what we need to take away. Keeping our eyes fixed up and trusting, and making everything a matter of prayer, matter of worship, matter of next steps, whatever that may be. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have final thoughts, but before I forgot all that, I wanted to say it. So
That's great.
But it reminds me, by the way, of Matthew chapter 5. It talks about, how the Beatitudes at the very end, it's talking about being insulted and being persecuted in His name. It's this. I think there's a parallel here, because at the very end they're being mocked. They're being, the other nations are saying your God doesn't exist. He's not only does He not exist, He's not that powerful. They're hearing all sorts of things, and it's hard when you're hearing that to say, I got to keep moving on. I got to ignore what I'm hearing and focus on the hills as we talk about going up, to thinking, my eyes need to be looking up.
Yeah.
because God responds.
All right on. Well, if you made it to the end, congratulations. Thanks for watching and being a part of things. Yeah, we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Maybe.
Maybe. What do you mean, maybe? No, it's good. All right, thank you guys.